on Australia's business channel. This is Mediaweek.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm here with James Manning, the editor and publisher of Mediaweek, and this week we're at PAMPA. These are the awards which are part of the forum of the publishing industry, where they honour the best mastheads from across the country and in the cities and the regions and as well online. It's been a pretty big evening. James, do you want to run us through, I suppose, the biggest winners of the night?
Yeah, Fairfax have again come away with 2 Newspaper of the Year awards. They did last year as well. Last year the Sydney Morning Herald and the Sun Herald were the big winners. This year they sort of transferred that Metro title to the Age, so that's one there. And the other one they picked up is for the Press down in Christchurch. Of course, some tremendous hardships there after the earthquake they've gone through. They are standing ovation there for the editor, who we'll be talking to shortly. So yeah, big win for them. News Limited didn't miss out though. I mean, they when it comes to online, they sort of dominated there with the couriermail.com.au picking up sort of Metro website of the year. Northern Territory News, one of your favourites, did very well too. And also news.com.au for sort of digital publishing innovation. Yeah,
it's interesting, these awards are not sort of like, you know, you have the big journalism awards, the Walkleys, etc. These are publishing awards, there's online, there's photography, but the awards aren't so much the content, it's really, you know, it's a bigger picture kind of a thing.
Yeah, they consider the business, you know, just all elements, the marketing, the circulation people. It's
the layout.
It's an overall, yeah.
The printing.
Yeah. Absolutely, well, yeah, everything.
How many awards were there?
There was a lot.
I lost count. There must have been, what, 50, 60 awards?
Yeah, they rattle through them pretty quickly, so because they know, look, they're going to lose people's attention span. And just on those other News Limited too, the Sunday Mail, of course, in Brisbane, Sunday Newspaper of the Year. We shouldn't forget that one.
Now, of course, the 2 big winners here at the PAMPA Awards both come from the Fairfax stable, and the first guest of our program is, in fact, Greg Hywood, the CEO of Fairfax, and he's here speaking with James Manning.
Hi, Greg. Congrats, done it again this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, James, they're, you know, 2 very different awards. Of course, the Christchurch Press. We all know what occurred there. It was an extraordinary event, and our people just rose above it. They delivered what their community needed. They got the paper out the next day. They've had to put up with an extraordinary environment. Many of the people have had to suffer personally, but they've come through for their community. So that's just absolutely deserved.
And I think an inspiring sort of story for everybody in the media, isn't it? What they've managed to do down there during some real hardship.
Well, exactly. And you know, the thing about newspapers, great newspapers, they connect, not just connect with their community, they deliver in times of need. And I think the people of Christchurch have really seen the enormous value of having a quality newspaper like the Press as part of their lives.
Yeah, now the Sydney Morning Herald's had to surrender its title tonight. Or I guess they grin on your face. You're not onto the Melbourne Daily, The Age.
Well, The Age is again deserved. They put a lot of work into the newspaper. They built their investigative team. They broke news. I mean, Paul Ramage, the editor-in-chief tonight, said that investigations were a particular focus, and they got the big story around the security, corruption issues surrounding the Reserve Bank. And look, they've done great work and they've served their community well. And like all great newspapers, they've connected with their community. They've delivered a broad range of news and information to the community, from news to sport to opinion. They've done their job really well and they deserve the accolade.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a cookie-cutter sort of approach either, do you? I mean, you share a little bit of content, but they're very different papers serving very different markets.
Well, they're very, very different cities. I mean, you know, Sydney and Melbourne aren't that far apart, but they have very different cultures. And the thing about Fairfax is that, you know, we're committed to diversity. I mean, you know, we share appropriate content, but a newspaper can only work if it delivers to its community. And Melbourne's a very demanding place. And if you can deliver to Melbourne, frankly, you're doing a damn good job.
Yeah, now you've been running the sort of ruler over the business pretty sort of, you know, giving a really hard focus at costs and all that. Are you through that process now and it's sort of onwards and upwards?
You're never through anything in the media. Things always change. But, I mean, our strategy is very much about making sure that we produce what we do as efficiently as we can, so we can invest in our journalism. The journalism drives our business, and that's what's so pleasing about tonight. You can see that you've got people who've worked together as a team, as Paul Ramage said. It's a team. It's been team spirit that's driven that paper, and there's a commitment around the journalism and the quality and independent journalism that we, as an organisation, want to deliver, has been delivered.
We're probably nearly halfway through your sort of trial with the digital editions before you sort of maybe lower a paywall. How's that looking?
Well, the iPad edition is a phenomenal success. I mean, there are analysts in the market who are saying that we'd be lucky to get 50,000 downloads. Well, we're 210,000 and rising. We're on a third of all the iPads in the country. This is a real revolution in the media. It's a new consumer product, it's a new media product, and quite clearly it's a lesson to stay and produce a quality experience for people.
Very good on you, thank you.
Thanks a lot, James.
Greg Hywood, their CEO of Fairfax, and he was indeed talking about the importance of papers and their connection with the community, and the winner indeed of the regional paper of the year. The Press is of course from Canterbury, based in Christchurch, where of course we saw that tragic earthquake earlier this year. And Andrew Holden joins me now. Andrew, thank you for being on the program.
Oh, my pleasure.
I guess somewhat of a bittersweet win.
It is a little bit. I suppose if you're going to win an award, it'd be nice not to have to go through a series of earthquakes where people have died to win it. But I think what it means for us, it's just great pride. We're really proud of what we've done for our community. It's been an extraordinarily tough year. And to get this recognition from our peers that the paper's done so well is fantastic.
What were the challenges for you as a business trying to operate through that time?
Well, the first thing you had, of course, on the earthquake on February 22nd is that we lost our building. So we had dual priorities, really. We had a search and rescue to try and save our staff who were trapped on the roof, and we lost one. And then it was to try and keep the business functioning and try and put a paper out the next day, which we did manage to do. So through all that, when nothing's normal in a city that's so badly broken by an earthquake, to just try and bring a paper out that can tell people what was happening was all that we could concentrate on, really.
Quite incredible. You know, it doesn't happen very often for a media organisation that you're actually caught up and you become part of the story that you're reporting on. Absolutely, and I think one of the toughest things for our staff, and you'd have seen it in some of the photographs that were taken by Ian McGregor that won an award here as well. And I always remember Ian saying to me, you know, these are photographs I should be taking overseas when I'm sent to a war zone. These are not the things that you would see in your own hometown. And I think that just showed the extraordinary courage of the staff, that they could, despite what was happening and their own fear for their own families and what was happening in their own lives, their ability to turn around and still be professional and still try and tell a story to explain to people what was happening in their hometown. How long did it take you to get back to normal, if you even are there yet?
We don't have a normal. We have a new normal. That's the phrase we use in Christchurch. There's no old Christchurch. So many of the buildings are coming down, so much has been damaged. We've got at least 5,000 people in the suburban areas of Christchurch, and another 1,000 in a little town on the fringes at Kaipoi who are now being told by the government that they'll have to move, they'll be paid out. So, you know, you have that sort of dislocation from a community. We'll build our own city, we'll build a new city, and that will become our normal in time.
We're always hearing stories over here of the number of Christchurch locals who have just said it's too risky, we're leaving. Has that had a big impact on your business in terms of actually people from the press who've wanted to leave?
We're finding a few of those, not a lot in the immediate aftermath, but now as time plays out, as people see what the circumstances with their schools might be and their jobs, that's understandable. I mean, you know, the human reaction of being in a place that still continues to suffer aftershocks can be too much for people. But I think what I find with most of the people that I speak to in Christchurch is that's no blame. What you do have is an extraordinary resilience that says, you know, for those who want to, this is our town, we're going to stay, we'll rebuild it. It's an extraordinary spirit. You really don't see that. I imagine the people of Darwin in 1975 and probably what we're seeing in Victoria after the bushfires and in Queensland recently after the floods. It's that toughness, isn't it? You know, it's that love of place that says, it's my home and whatever it takes, I'm going to rebuild it.
And what about the new normal that you talk about? Because, you know, at the end of the day, a newspaper is still a business, and you've got to run, you've got to make money, and you've got to try and make money from a city that's been devastated by this, and obviously money is going to be hard to come by from your advertisers. How are you sort of coping and moving forward with that?
We're doing okay, actually. I mean, and that is part of the business resilience. There are still people trading. As a business, we've been fortunate. All those, the banks and the insurance companies needed to advertise somewhere to tell their readers or the residents of Christchurch where to get information. So we benefited from that. We've lost a lot of people, you know, those home subscribers, their homes aren't there anymore. So we have to make them back. But by and large, it becomes a long-term business. The press, we celebrated 150 years in May. You know, we're not running away. The business won't fold, just like this still is the second biggest city in Christchurch. It's not going anywhere. It'll still be there.
So what else is on the horizon for you once if you can look through this period, and what sort of things have you got planned? Where do you see the paper being in 5-10 years?
I think the paper, it will go where a lot of other papers will go in terms of moving on to different platforms, and I'm sure you heard that theme at this conference tonight in terms of iPads and telephones and all the rest of it, or smartphones, that is. What we've really learnt, though, in these past few months, past 6 months, is that, you know, a paper has to do the fundamentals. Print's not dead if that's the thing that gets to people. You still do the really simple information. People still call out for that. So long as we keep grounded in terms of basic community needs, we'll always have a place.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Let's find out firstly now how media stocks have fared this week. Here's Chris Weston from IG Markets in Melbourne.
Thanks, Carly. Certainly it's been all about reporting season this week. Plenty of the main players opening their books to the investor community. I think you've really got to look at the main story of the week in terms of price action, and that was Seven West Media. They came out of a net profit that's certainly beaten expectations. We saw their net profit up nearly 20% to $115 million. The consensus in the market was around about $92 million, and the spread somewhere between 85 and 101. So that's beaten expectations by quite some way. The dividend at 26 cents was pretty much in line with the expectations of the market. The commentary from the company was cautious, as we know with many of these media companies. The outlook or the visibility is, in terms of earnings, is quite poor at the moment. But they did say they are seeing improvements throughout July and August at the moment. So the stock, because people have been positioned so bearishly, has done very, very well, up 21% since reporting those earnings. If you look at consolidated media, they're up 9% since reporting net profit, which increased 5.8% to around about $94 million. They came out of a final dividend of 6 cents, taking their full year dividend to 16.5 cents. A lower contribution from an increased contribution from Foxtel, but a lower contribution from Fox Sports. Now, interestingly, they did say, and they're still pretty confident that the Austar deal can go through. I think that's a very interesting thing, since the ACCC blocked that recently. SEEK came out of a pretty disappointing number for the public. We did see Goldman Sachs cutting that stock from a buy recommendation to a hold recommendation. I think that's more premised on the fact that they see lower unemployment growth coming forward. We did see their revenue up about 22%, their net profit up 25.9%, sorry, but that just missed the expectations of the market, and that stock's down 4.5%. Elsewhere, we've seen Southern Cross Media. They came out of a pretty good result. They saw good top-line growth in their regional and metropolitan businesses, and that's up about 5%. So a mixed bag in reporting season. Certainly, Seven West Media coming out of what looks like the earnings season, the earnings report of the season in terms of the media companies thus far.
After the break, more winners from here at the Pamper Awards, and we'll check in on all the latest ratings. Stay with us.